The heart. The heart is the center of the circulatory system. The heart's main role is to pump blood to nourish and bathe every organ in the body. Oxygen and nutrients are transported by the blood to the tissues, and waste products are carried away from them. As soon as the heart's pumping action is disrupted, organs in the body will begin to fail. Thus, life itself depends on the efficient, continuous activity of the heart. The heart is made up of 4 chambers: the right atrium, the right ventricle, the left atrium, and the left ventricle. And the heart is also divided into 2 sides: the right side of the heart, which contains the right atrium and the right ventricle, and the left side of the heart, which contains the left atrium and the left ventricle. The right side of the heart receives used blood from the body that is returning from the tissues of the body and pumps it into the lungs, where it's replenished with oxygen. From the body, deoxygenated blood returns to the right atria and ventricle. The blood is received in the right atrium, which pumps it into the right ventricle. The right ventricle then pumps the blood through the lungs so the blood can be oxygenated. After the blood is oxygenated by the lungs, it enters the right atrium. The blood is pumped out of the left side of the heart to all the body's organs after the left side of the heart receives oxygenated blood from the lungs. The left atrium pumps it into the left ventricle, which pumps it back to the body to distribute oxygen and nutrients to the body. There are 4 heart valves that are between the 4 chambers of the heart. These valves open and close at the right time to keep the blood moving in the proper direction through the heart. The 4 heart valves are the tricuspid valve, which is between the right atrium and the right ventricle. This valve keeps the blood from flowing back into the atrium when the ventricle squeezes. The next one is the pulmonary valve, which sits between the right ventricle and the pulmonary artery, or the artery that goes into the lungs. This valve keeps the blood in the lungs from coming back up into the right ventricle once it's done squeezing. The mitral valve sits between the right atrium and the right ventricle. This keeps the blood from flowing back up into the right atrium when the ventricle squeezes. Finally, the aortic valve is between the left ventricle and the aorta, or the artery that supplies the blood to the body. This valve keeps the blood in the body from coming back into the left ventricle once it's done squeezing. The blood flows in a continuous loop with each heartbeat or stroke. The circulatory system consists of a simple and continuous loop of blood vessels that begin and end at your heart. When the blood travels through your body, it remains in the closed system, which means that it never leaves the system. With each heartbeat, the blood is pushed through the system. When something impairs the circulation of blood, it can affect the cardiovascular system as well as the body systems where the blood and its components are being distributed.